You are watching another What's in the Box, this time Pathfinder, the box set by Paizo. The beginner's box. Paizo, a little bit of history behind this company. They are the ones that split off from Wizards of the Coast, set this up, and Pathfinder is essentially Dungeons and Dragons 3.75. It takes the more logical steps past 3.5. But obviously doesn't make radical changes like 4.0 did. The art here that we get for the box. Some side box art. It's very attractive to look at, isn't it? It really is accessible, and this really is for the beginner, the absolute beginner who's never ever touched D&D before. So it says that this is for 2 to 5 players, so let's open it up. See what we get. It's quite tightly packed, actually. So first up we have a set of polyhedral dice, which is what you'd expect. We have a whole bunch of sealed stands, the little grooves in, so that you can insert cardboard cutouts. We'll see that in a moment. We have a little intro page. As you can see, everything's hard to get out. You've really got to try and get your fingers in or tip it out somehow. Before you go any further, read this page, as it will help guide you through the contents of this box. Welcome to a world of adventure. And some, see the comic booky art here with the goblins on. When I say about accessibility, this really is the thing that you could buy a kid who's kind of curious about getting into it, because there's even a thing within the book here. It states, if you're on your own but still want to experience an adventure before reading the rules of the game, grab the hero's handbook and turn to page 2. And there's an adventure you can play by yourself. You know, those choose your own adventure style things where you turn to whatever section. It's not very big, but it gives you a little taste of something just to get you going. Really, a little taste of the world. Pathfinder. So what they've done here with this box set, and if you've seen my Dragon Age What's in the Box video, I'll link that up on screen now actually, you'll see that this is the same kind of idea, and they've actually put a player's handbook here. They've called it the Hero's Handbook, and one for the GM. So this is the one you hand to your players, and the GM keeps his own one in the box. So some great cover art here, really evocative of the setting. On the back we see some nice combat reference sheet stuff. And a nice orc here. Again, the comic book art, observe, but very, very well done to a very high standard indeed. Although I would say, if you take a look at that elf, it's almost coming off a bit World of Warcraft, isn't it? And I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing. Some of you will have your own opinions on this, won't you? And again, you see that accessibility. How to create a character, everything in full colour. So this is it. It's put together. They've kept you really to 4 basic starter classes just to be able to play this one adventure that's in this thing. And then they get you started through the contents of the book, leading up to playing an adventure with these pre-made characters. Really, I mean, that's the suggestion. So the spells here and the explanations for each of the classes. I don't want to show you too much because Paizo won't be happy with that. And finishing your character, and some suggestions here for skills, feats, equipment, explanations of what the feats and skills and spells and items and armour and different things do. So really everything the player could need. They've done a really stellar job here of putting together something that's attractive, something that you can give to a not experienced gamer and really try and turn them on to the setting, the idea of getting into it. A little glossary of terms there again. Again, very similar to the Dragon Age book, isn't it? You see some pre-made character sheets here, and these are just on a 2-page double overleaf colour design, really nicely made. So, for instance, the cleric, play this character if you'd like to be good at this is the sort of, it's a quick bullet list of what it's about if you don't know. And we've got here your character sheet and the information. This will teach you how to do it in Pathfinder terms, which is essentially close to D&D terms. And then a little bit, a story summary of this character on the back about Kyra. You can read her little bit of story. And there's 4 of these, one for each of the suggested classes, starter classes that come with this particular box. We have the wizard one. I mean, what do you think, guys? Do you think this is good for the hobby, bad for the hobby? Obviously, they're giving you four classes here. Do you think they're trying to pigeonhole you, or do you think this is a respectable way to go about it, to try and say, well, you know, this is just a start? The way we're looking at it is we're just fans of RPG product. We like having product in our hands and seeing what it is they're doing. And because we've never played Pathfinder before, we're likely to sort of say, yeah, well, we will play these classes actually because they've been play tested to this adventure. So we'll have a go with it, you know. We'll have a mess around and we'll play them for just this and then drop them and roll our own ones when we play a proper Pathfinder campaign. We saw the rogue here, and of course it just had to be an elf female, didn't it? And of course finally the fighter, who was always going to have to be included, wasn't it? Again with that comic book art. Again, everything's made to look really attractive to try and get those non-gamers as interested as possible, really. Here we can see generic blank character sheets. So those ones there, if you wanted a pre-made, they're filled in for you. But these are nice and blank. But look, they're still full colour. They're just as higher quality as the ones that were filled in inside the book. And they've included these loose. Well done, Paizo. Well done on that. You get like 4 of them. Then we come to another important book. This is the other book of the 2 books, the Games Master's Guide. So, more combat reference. Common conditions, even though there's a list of lots of other conditions you'd find. A little explanation of how cover works. So it's nice to see that cover's being implemented in the game. Kick straight off with a map. You can see the grid style system there. If you're using miniatures or whatever to keep track of space. And we kick straight off with a dungeon. Black Fang's Dungeon. And a bit of advice on, you know, early games mastering and that sort of thing. So I'll skip through the adventure. And we see games mastering, a bit of information here. Not quite as much information as you would get in the Dragon Age book, but it's really good that they've done this. This is the right product done in the right way for the audience they are aiming at. Potentially younger or potentially completely new. And if you're a father, for instance, that plays a lot of D&D, you might want to get this product for your kid and let them mess around with it. Or let them try and GM for you and learn that way if you want to teach them to GM. Look at that. Advice on drawing a dungeon map. Building an adventure. A dozen dungeon storylines. So this starts to feel like an RPG guide a bit in here. You know, encounter types. The Ruins of Ravenswatch. So we have the different environments with informations about them. Different floor types. And it's in this way that obviously things are a bit more complex in a game like this, as opposed to, as we were discussing comparatively box to box, the Dragon Age system, the Age system, which is nowhere near as complex as this. I suppose you could say that Dragon Age is sort of D&D light, and this is D&D 3.75. Rooftops, we can magic weapons, scrolls and items. There's a whole section here on items and monsters. That's great. We actually come to a bestiary. But again, you see, you look at elementals and the earth elementals here. And the way the art is done, you know, a boar, it almost is, again, screaming World of Warcraft. If you see people with ridiculous pauldrons or something, then I suppose it'd be very wow. Look, that's very wow, isn't it? It almost looks like a blood elf death knight or something like that. Good God, and that's a ghost. So, gosh, look at that. What's a 40k Tyrannid doing in this? That's a reef claw, but still. And you see everything is like chaotic neutral, chaotic evil, neutral evil, neutral evil. So yes, there's a small bestiary in here. We've got a nice little random encounters thing here, tables for your needs. Then we come to an area here, there's a coastal town called Sandpoint. Information about it, population, the mayor, map of it. This really does have its own style, doesn't it? And we have common map symbols, so it's a little key really. Here we see a glossy map tile sheet. I don't want to open it up fully, but you'll get the idea here because it's quite big and we won't be able to get it all in this restricted view camera. You will get the idea though that the kind of thing we're looking at is relatively blank to be able to specifically run the adventure contained herein. Now, you saw those black stands before, so it's all going to make sense now what this is for. Because here we see cutouts, punch-outs, whatever you want to call them. So there's our characters, so you can actually do the miniature play. Black Dragon. You can see the artwork, very stylistic, as I said, reminiscent of comic books. And there are, how many pages of this? How many sheets of this? 1, 2, 3. 3 boards of that. And then a little advert in the back for Pathfinder Society, where you can join that at paizo.com/Pathfinder Society. And then your adventure continues, and then they're basically advertising what you can spend your money on next. So guys, I'm not here to report on how good this game is because I've not played it. I'm just here to show you what's inside the box. Have any of you played it? Have any of you experienced it? What do you think? Was it any good? Would you recommend it? Do you like Pathfinder more than D&D? Do you like D&D more than Pathfinder? Are they the same to you? What's your reason for your answer? These questions are mine to you. Chuck me a comment below. Let me know what's on your mind. Thanks for tuning in to this What's in the Box for the Pathfinder box set. And let's hope that we can keep on harking back to the era of old where we could have a game in a box like the old D&D Red box. Thanks everybody. Take care and I'll see you next time.